the safety of citizens and the efficiency of work, for example. And the REACH regulation has many very laudable ambitions. And industry has spent a lot of time, effort, money and resource in getting to certainly the first stage of the registration process. Where we have misgivings really is in the implementation, and what we're seeing now are a number of unintended consequences, certainly as a barrier to trade and also perhaps stigmatisation of industry. And
how would a potential restriction on its use have impacts on trade? You did mention that there could be impacts on trade aspects.
Well, not just trade. I mean, the EU, through its Raw Materials Initiative, for example, has already pinpointed that cobalt, along with a whole range of other minerals, is very important to EU industry. It's critical, in fact. Now, on the other hand, with the application of REACH, it's now causing an issue with regard to inhibiting the use of cobalt in the EU. Now, that will give other countries the opportunity to develop the innovations that we may not be able to do if there's a restriction on how we use cobalt.
So what's your advice now to policymakers?
It's very simple advice. I think it's to be fair, non-discriminatory, and to apply a regulation in a proportionate manner. I think one has to look very closely at what it is intended to authorise, for example. Look at the process, look at what you're attempting to do, and look at the consequences, because from a practical point of view, the REACH regulation was really to look at substances which had widely dispersive uses and were widely exposed to humans. Well, or consumers, I should say. Well, in terms of cobalt, for example, it's occupational exposure. There's, as far as we can see, no exposure to consumers. So it's not really the sort of substance that should fall under the spotlight.
Cobalt is a metal. It's not a chemical substance. So why is cobalt actually at all concerned by REACH?
There is cobalt metal, but we also have in our consortium another 29 chemical substances. And of course, metal is a chemical, but yes, it is metalliferous. But there are a whole range of different chemistries, and cobalt is not a visible metal. You don't see cobalt like you do aluminium or copper. It's always used as an alloy with other metals for improving operational capabilities of, let's say, jet engines or wind turbines. It's used in chemical applications for rechargeable batteries. It's used in surface engineering. It's a whole range of different technology-enabling applications. And that's where its chemical qualities come to the fore. So what we're very surprised about is how cobalt itself has been singled out by some members, and certainly one member members of the EU, in terms of looking for a candidate for prioritisation.
Is there a hazard linked to cobalt in any way?
Oh yes, I mean cobalt has hazards, of course, and these let's say with salts and what we're talking about, this is already covered by existing legislation, so it's not new in that respect. So the classification of cobalt isn't really at question, but the disproportionate application of the regulation, for example, makes it very difficult for a minor metal like cobalt to be able to withstand such certainly commercial pressures.